Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just want to go over how to use Avalanche or AVAX as collateral to borrow UST. Uh, so um, right now, there's a 19% fixed interest on Anchor, but that's not going to be sustainable long term. And in fact, they actually passed a proposal that I guess like every month or so, depending on how well the interest rate or how well their deposit and lending, like how their inflows and outflows are going, they might start bringing down like the interest rates down by like 1.5%. Well, if there's not enough borrowing to compensate against like the deposits, like 1.5 percent like cap like each month. And then I think like the absolute floor is like 15%, but that's still pretty decent. But maybe in another video I'll cover that. But like right now, if you use AVAX as collateral for UST borrowing, that could help offset some of the borrow, the deposit and borrow interest mismatch. So let's go over to like how you can actually get like a kind of like a staking version of like AVAX on Benki. So you just go to like the like Benki is also kind of like Avalanche's like they're like another version of like of Aave. So it's like also like another deposit and lending platform. But they also introduced a new feature where you can actually stake your AVAX. So in the background you'll earn like whatever the staking rewards are, and then in return you'll get sAVAX as like kind of like the receipt token. And then you can use sAVAX um, as collateral, so you can borrow UST. And then this UST is like the wormhole version. So this wormhole like portal bridge allows you to go from I believe Solana, Terra, and now Avalanche. And I'm pretty sure you can also do it on Ethereum. But as a thing to note about wormhole, like they had like a kind of like an exploit a while back, but uh I forget the name. I think it's like jump trading. They actually stepped in to kind of make everybody body whole. So it's kind of weird. Like it's bad that they got exploited, but I'm glad there was someone like with deep pockets to help make everybody whole. Where like as opposed to like other exploits is like tough luck. So it's good and it's bad. You're still relying on like a centralized or like a tradfi type of entity to help step in, but I guess these are growing pains. So I guess like for now, like it's like a okay kind of compromise. Um, but anyway, Anchor, like they were normally on Terra, but now they're on Avalanche as well. So that's a good thing. And then there's also like it's also allows like another type of collateral to be used, so you can borrow UST, so you can either trade or actually deposit back into Anchor. So uh, the thing to note is like if you use sAVAX as collateral and when you do borrow, um, you get there is like a borrow APR. So like right now it's kind of high at like 11.5%, but you get compensated back with 9%, and that's paid in Anchor tokens. So depending on like Anchor's performance, like the borrow rate could fluctuate a little bit. So right now it's like 2%, which isn't too bad if you factor everything in. So like in total, you should be able to net out like you know almost like 17%. It was actually closer to 16.5 as of today's uh, you know rate. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Um, and then let me just break through like kind of like some of the sample gas costs on a like quote unquote normal day. So like you have to approve like your AVAX, and then you can actually stake your AVAX on Banky. So it's not too bad. Like I'm just quoting like it's like 28 cents to approve, and then another 88 cents to stake. And then if you want to borrow on Anchor's like around 67 cents, and then also to deposit UST is another 78 cents. It's kind of like I wanted to say high because compared to like Ethereum, it's pretty cheap. But like the gas prices like on Avalanche, they work the same way as the Ethereum. Like it kind of they there's like a chance it could spike depending on I think like the latest like gas guzzler, excuse me, is like this Krabata game. So just like maybe like what you can do is you can keep like a gas tracker from like Snow Trace in the background, like before you decide to make any transactions. Um, and then I'm also including like a second slide for like the sample gas cost on like a relatively cheap day. So like usually on the weekends or like maybe like early mornings on the weekdays. Um, like I noticed like the gas prices are a little bit lower. So like I try to do transactions like when it's like below 30, whenever possible. Um, and I mean, depending on your account balance, like it's like it could be like a small nuisance. But like I'm kind of cheap, so like I like to try to make the most out of my money, especially for like Avalanche. Like I don't put as much money there, just because like I think the incentives are kind of dying out. But maybe they'll come back and that'll help. But anyway, so to approve sAVAX is like 14 cents, and then to provide uh sAVAX as collateral is another 52 cents, and then it's another like a round of approvals and providing and loaning for UST. So you can kind of just like take a look at all these at your spare time. Like I find like the process is actually a little bit easier on Terra itself, because I guess like the way it's set up on like the EVM compatible chains, like there's like these I guess like different rounds of approvals and provisions and then the actual transaction. I think maybe for security reasons, or I don't know what the rationale is, but it's a little bit annoying on Avalanche. And then like for me, like it's technically it's still worth it. Because I just use like in this example five sAVAX just because I just wanted to play around with it, and like I get around like $9.75 on annual revenue if I provide it as collateral and then borrow against it, and then redeposit it back into Anchor, and then like the total cost is like $5.40. So technically, it's worth it. I think if I had put more money in, then like the costs are kind of like negligible. So like the 19% like the loan to value, like I was able to borrow like 50 UST, and then for like using Avalanche's collateral, like they only let you borrow up to like 60%. So it's a little tough for like people with like smaller balances. And the process isn't as streamlined as on like Terra. It might be better to like if you're working with like a smaller account balance, like like $1,000 or less, like maybe like try to chunk it up. Like say for example, do it every quarter or like maybe even like annually, just to save up like so you can so it's not like as annoying like if you try to like especially if you want to like claim your money like it's tough like when you're working with like small sums of money, like it's not like there's no unfortunately there's no great way to get around it. I mean but it's still better than like putting it in like a traditional bank where you're like you might not even get like a 1%. So and just to visualize, um, I guess like the thing to keep in mind, your collateral value also like fluctuate too. So like depending on how well the Avalanche uh, token itself like does, that's like one factor to keep an eye on. And then another thing to keep an eye on is like the price of Anchor because that affects your your net APR. So like depending on like when I was like doing like the screen captures, like the net APR like fluctuated between like 2 and like 3%, and that's because of like the price of the Anchor token. So that's another yet another thing to keep an eye on. And then like the the borrow usage. I like how like it's a nice slider over here. It shows you up front like how like the maximum how you can borrow against like your collateral value, and then it shows you like the the amount that you're borrowing against. Like 50 divided by like the 254, that gives you like your borrow usage. So that's also like pretty handy to keep an eye on. So like I don't think I'll like unless like Avalanche or the Anchor token takes like a nosedive, like I feel like I'm pretty safe at like around like the 20% borrow usage. Um, and besides, like I'm also just like playing around with it. Um, so like as you can see, I only like put up like only like five sAVAX, but then like throughout the year, like I'll probably like uh, add to like the position depending on like maybe I can get Avalanche at like a better price, and then kind of like cost average in. Um, and then like I like how on the earn like you can kind of like see what your annual interest is, and then to the next slide. Like if you prefer not to like go through Avalanche, there's also like I call this kind of like a bonus slide because like on Kujira, like which I cover in like a previous video, you can actually now like you can also bid for like a cheaper uh Avalanche as well. And the cool thing is like you can use AUST to bid for stuff. Um, so I've already put in like a small bid just to test it out on Conjuria as well. So it might be like better for like some folks, especially if we're working with a small account balance, maybe just like stay on Terra directly, but then also occasionally like put in like bids on AVAX and ETH or like Luna on Kujira itself, because I think that that could save you like a few rounds of just like these small like transaction costs. And then also the cool thing is you can like if you use AUST to bid on like these collateral types, you can also like earn interest in the background while you wait for your bids to hit. So that could be something to consider as well. So and then like let me see like some additional items of note. You might need to like stake more than your normal position to offset like some of the avalanche like the gas fees, because it could be annoying because like if they spike, um, even though like, they're cheaper than Ethereum, like it could be annoying because that could like affect your profitability, especially if you're working with like a smaller balance. And then um, it's kind of annoying because there's like different types of UST on an Avalanche right now. There's one from like the XLR bridge, and then there's another one from like the Wormhole UST bridge. XLR UST like it's used like right now, I believe on Trader Joe and Pangolin. And then there's also like a Wormhole UST which is used by like the Anchor protocol. So it's really annoying. So there could be like composability issues. So I'm thinking like it might be better like after I'm done like maybe at the end of the quarter or like the end of the year, once I'm done like farming all this stuff on Avalanche, at some point like I think it might be easier just to just to bridge everything on like their respective bridges back to Terra, and then just like stick everything into like the Terra anchor But I like at the same time, like right now, I want to help out like the liquidity on Anchor Avalanche, because I think Anchor is like a pretty awesome protocol that I want to support, and I also want to just like support like the Luna and the UST ecosystem as well, because I find that the two like very helpful for like people with smaller balances. But the thing to keep in mind is there will always like these little liquidity issues, and it might take a while to get some traction. So then like as always, there's always like contract risks, especially when you're using the bridges like back and forth. And then the avalanche fees could be they're not as high as Ethereum, as I said before, but they can be annoying. And then of course, like it's not financial tax advice, and in DeFi there are no refunds, so just be careful. But I found like Anchor to be one of the more trustworthy protocols, at least so far. And then Avalanche is also like a pretty decent EVM compatible chain, so they're not too bad too. So like I think I want to like stick more money with them slowly but surely. And just to like wrap up, if you like these type of videos, like please consider giving a like and subscribe, or like just like comment on any DeFi topic that you would like me to cover as well. I'll be happy to kind of share any information that I know of, and then yeah, so I appreciate you guys watching, and um, have a great one. Bye now.